We're live. I'm letting it connect to all the social platforms. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So just letting them all connect here for a moment before we really get it going. We're going to talk about Gen Zers in the workplace and why it matters and what the issues are. Here we go. So Gen Zers in the workplace, they are, do you know Gen Zers are bringing one thing to job interviews at a near 20% rate? I'll let you know what that is in a moment. Keep thinking what that thing is that Gen Zers are bringing to job interviews about 20% of the time. There is an Indeed article. 3 out of 4 managers said they find Gen Zers as employees that are hard to work with. They're disengaged. They're exhausted. 36% of those Gen Zers say they experience low energy. Wait till you're working in your 40s. Good luck. And they job hop. They're like, when I see that with job hopping in articles, I kind of go, really? Like, that's the issue? Like, employers, I'm talking in a broad brush here. Like, they don't show loyalty to the employee. So then why should the employee show loyalty to the organization? So managers just don't like because they don't like retraining new people. That's why they don't like it. I don't blame the Gen Zers for that. If you can make more somewhere else, go job hop. Do it. More power to you. But what do you think the Gen Zers are bringing to their job interview at a 1 to 5 rate? Keep thinking about that one, but I'm gonna tell you a story first. So I coach basketball. I've coached junior high, high school, all levels from assistant coach to the varsity coach. And a number of years ago, I think we're past the time of limitations, whatever that is, where I can tell the story freely. I won't use the real names or real schools. But after the preseason inter squad scrimmage slash parent meeting we had, I got a phone call from a basketball parent. Now, if you ever coached, you get calls from parents. It's probably the highlight of coaching is getting calls from parents. And so this parent called up and goes, "Hey, if my son's not going to play more, I don't know if we're going to have him on the team." I know we haven't had an official game yet. All it's been is practices and the scrimmage that we ran after the parent meeting, just so the kids could play more and the parents could watch. So that's all we've done so far in the season. And so this parent's calling already concerned about playing time. So how do you handle that? How do you handle that as a coach? And how do you handle the parent? Because I was actually a relatively young head coach compared to most of these parents that are out there. So going here, I'm thinking I'd be the young one, inexperienced, having hopefully some, older people around me to go, "Hey, we understand." Not this one. So start thinking, and I start going, "Well, tell me your concerns," which is probably the worst thing to say as a coach to a parent. They start, main thing, playing time. My kid isn't going to play enough. And my initial thoughts is like, did they work hard enough in the off season? Not my problem. The best kids are going to play, and the better of the best are going to play more. It's pretty simple. So I'm listening. And to be fair, the player wasn't going to play a ton, who this guy was. And pretty easy to tell early on. So the parent goes on and going, and I've worked in sales too. So one of my pet peeves is when managers go, "Hey, Rob, sell more." Well, okay, but what's more? Can you define more for me? I'd like to know what more is. And more is not a good, I think as my wife just told me the quote, like Brene Brown, clarity is nice, or, clarity is kind. It's from like, more is not clear. It's not clear. So tell me a number. What should I hit? And I thought of that while talking to this parent complaining about minutes. And so I go, all right, in high school basketball here in Colorado, there's 8-minute quarters. That makes 32 minutes in a game. How many minutes should your son get? And you could hear the pause on the phone and go, well, I don't know. I go, you were just saying your child should play more. What's more? You need for us to be on the same page, you have to give me a number. What's the correct number? Because I may think 4 to 6 minutes is more, and that's great for that player. You may be thinking 12, 18, maybe 30 minutes a game. What's more? And so the parent, you could hear the stutter in their voice and go, and then the tone changed. And the parent goes, all I really want is my son to feel like he's a part of the team. I go, that we can do, but that's not related to playing time. He can be a part of the community of what we're doing, playing basketball, and have a great influence and be a great part of it. But that does not equal playing time. And the parent at least agreed with me on the phone, and I've never heard back from him. But the kid played, and he played well, played what we, reasonable minutes. We didn't give him more because the parent called. That's for sure. Has that ever worked, by the way, for parents? Or did how, if you were a coach or a parent, like, what would you do if a coach put that in front of you? Like, how many minutes should your kid play? And then tell them a number. Like, are you that brazen to go tell the coach how many minutes your kid should be playing? But that's really what you're asking when you call and complain to coaches about how many minutes your kid should be playing. Now, in connecting this to Gen Zers in the workplace, I'll ask the question again. What do you think Gen Zers are bringing to the job interview at a 1 to 5 rate? Now, in fairness to this kid, if you do the backwards math of when I coached them, is probably entering the workforce if they went to college. They're probably a year or two into their workforce career. So, so this hits them right where they probably are. They're in that Gen Z category. What are Gen Zers bringing to the job interview? Their parents. And not like, hey, mom, dad, can you drop me off at the job interview? Pick me up in an hour. Or, hey, sit in the lobby. Just sort of, I'll go in, but it'd be nice to have you there. They are sitting in the room with the managers in the job interview. If you're a manager and you're hiring a 22-year-old, 24-year-old, 18-year-old, and their parent showed up with them to sit in on the job interview, are you going to, clearly some of them are getting hired is my guess, but would you be excited to hire that person? I have family that works in HR. This thought, first off, they laughed hysterically if they thought that would happen. And the next thing is because they've actually gotten calls from parents for like, hey, my kid's looking for an internship. Is the business you're at, would that be a fit? And they're like, well, maybe, but why aren't they calling? Why is the parent calling? So are the Gen Zers of kind of maybe, the parents too helicopterish. So a survey of 800 employers by the intelligent group indicated 1 in 5 Gen Z job seekers took their parents to the job interview. How crazy is that? And we're not talking about Gen Zers, just, teens applying for jobs, but college grads, going into professional interviews, like a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, whatever state you're in where the workforce can do that. Oh, you know what? First job interview, having a parent in the corner, maybe, but I can't imagine if I asked my dad to come to an interview with me when I was like 22, or my mom, and be like, hey, can you sit in there with me? I'd be like, no. It's like, I have anxiety. They'd be like, bring a dog. And like, that's what I actually thought what it was. 1 in 5. I thought it was going to be service dogs or a service animal. But like, I can't imagine that would, like, put you like up on the list. Like most jobs I've seen posted, and maybe these are like really jobs that they're really hard to find people. Unlikely if they're more professional interviews. But like, I know people in the hiring field where they have hundreds of applicants. They're looking for reasons to take people off the list, not add. And if your parent goes with you into the interview, I have to imagine that's something that will kind of knock you down a few pegs, at least on the rankings of who they're going to hire. I guess maybe it's one of those hiring mills where they just hire 20 people at a time doing group interviews. I guess that's a way to get around it. Like have your parents interview with you, like one of those group interviews. It's amazing. So, is this a problem? Have you seen this problem in the workforce? Are you a hiring manager or work in HR where you see this? I'm sort of curious. Tell me the story. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think. So, thank you so much for listening. I'm RobatDesk, just trying to tell you the news and why it matters of certain stories. Thanks for watching.